That's gonna be a nice male. Is that not the most beautiful thing you ever saw? Look at this guy in proper light. Yeah, aren't they beautiful? There is a ton of babies in here. Hey everyone, this is Dan from Sydney's Angels, and today we're going to be looking at every tank in my house. Stay tuned. We have a ton of babies on the rack. We're going to go through each tank. We'll start down here because these are looking really, really good. We're going to start at that one. We're going to go zoop, and then we're going to go and then and then we're going to go boop, boop, and then we're going to go over there. So my beautiful wife Jordan ordered these guppies. These are her favorite, and I gotta say, they're really growing on me. That's going to be a nice male. See the color he's already getting on his side and his tail. That's a really nice male. In this tank I also have some false Julie cory cats. That was a kind of abandoned breeding project. I want to get back to breeding them again. This is eco-complete substrate, and I've got some different crypts and stuff growing in it. It's not ideal for cory cats, I know. It's probably pretty rough on their little barbs, so I'm going to be moving them eventually to like a sand tank. But I've caught them laying eggs a few times. I've never successfully spawned cories, but I also haven't really dedicated a ton of energy to it. Oh, look at that guy, huh? He's pretty handsome. I've also got a pretty decent colony of cherry shrimp in here. I pulled a bunch out from my aquascape upstairs, and I thought I just had red in here, but there's a bunch of orange in here too. So these guys will be going to my project that I'm going to be working on for Skittles shrimp, just a bunch of different culls basically, because I'm not really line breeding shrimp right now. I would like to someday. And it's kind of amazing that with all these fish in here, these guys are still reproducing, but they are. I pulled a bunch out. I don't remember putting that many in here, but they do have some hiding spots with all the moss. So yeah, blue Indo guppies, random cherry shrimp, and false Julie cory cats. That's what we got going on in here. So yeah, these will be the next guppies that go in the Guppy birthing suite, just because I need to up my numbers of these. They are getting eaten. It's interesting, some strains are eating their babies and some are not. I've noticed, I figured they'd all be the same, but they're not. The behavior is a little different. The next tank is a German blue ram breeding setup. I've got it at like 84 degrees. I've got a bunch of different cover in here so the female can kind of hide from the male. Nothing's in here right now. I got them all in a community tank, but I don't know if I'm gonna go with the dedicated breeding tank or if I'm just gonna do a community tank. So this might be something else eventually. What do you think I should do with this tank? Here. This tank is one of my favorites because these are one of my favorite guppies. These are the red mosaic dumbo ear half moon guppies. Red mosaic dumbo ear half moon guppies. Kind of a mouthful. Really love the color on these guys. I love their dumbo ear pectoral fins. And I've been culling the ones that aren't up to snuff with what I'm looking for. I haven't had any babies in this tank for a while because there's just so many bigger juveniles now that are just eating them immediately that there's no way any babies are surviving. But if you're looking for a really pretty guppy, these guys get a really nice blue on the top of their head. The red and the blue contrast really nicely. They look really nicely in a planted tank. And I have a coupon code actually in the description of this. You can save $5 on a trio if you buy them from my website. So I do sell a lot of them. There's my original male right there. I started, believe it or not, I started with one trio of these guys. Is that not the most beautiful thing you ever saw? So if these don't have enough blue, I put them in the guppy pond. Starting to put more live plants in my tanks. With a tank like this where the bio load is so high, I think it's easier to keep a bare bottom because it's easier to keep it really clean. And the guppies just grow better that way. They do have plants up here. They've got some water sprite up here and some floating red root floaters. But I'm starting to put some more plants in my tanks with bare bottoms. So I just glued these two pieces of Java fern to a rock because I think over time that'll grow in nicely and I'll just give another element of green in the tank. I'm really starting to focus on making each tank nicer individually so that it's easier to film, it's more pleasing for you guys to look at, it's more pleasing for me to look at, and more plants is always a good idea. These are my koi guppies. These are really cute. I really like these guys. The original kois I got from the swap are really chewed up, like their fins are all nipped and battered up. But the fry I'm getting out of them are looking really nice so far. It's pretty interesting because like when the fry are first born, immediately you can tell which ones are going to be white and which ones are going to be like dark. See how chewed up this guy is? I knew when I bought them they were kind of beat up, so I wouldn't sell these to people. But look at this stud. Yeah, boy. He's looking pretty good. Oop. So, her not so much. She's kind of rough. I'm not really happy with this tank. It's just kind of gross looking. I don't know. Probably gonna make it a bare bottom. Really clean it up. Tank next to that is my CPD tank, or Celestial Pearl Danios. Still got some for sale if you guys are interested. I am going to be breeding these guys again soon, and I'll be making a video about it. So stay tuned for that. Next to that tank is my Emerald Raspora tank. So you'll notice there's a lot of CPDs in here. That's because I was breeding them all in the same tank and they get mixed together. There's also some black Moscow guppies in here with super full bellies from all the brine shrimp they just got. I fished out some of them, not all of them. I had a breeder box like attached to the side here, and it must have overflown. I used like a little piece of foam to kind of block off the waterway. I think that clogged up, it overflowed, and a bunch of black Moscow guppies got into here. So I'll have to fish them out. I feel bad. I know I stress them out every time I try to take them out, but I don't want them to get too big and start eating snacks in here because I know there's some little fry in here still. So that's the first rack. If you caught my last video, it was the first time I ever hatched rainbow fish. I've raised rainbow fish from mops a few times now, and my good friend Steve gave me a trio of Blair eye rainbows. I pulled the mop after about 5 days, and there is a ton of babies in here. When I'm doing maintenance on this tank, which I try to do 2 water changes a day right now, they all kind of huddle up and you really get a good idea of how many there are. But I mean, there's a ton, there's a bunch, and it's only from 3 fish, from 5 days of breeding, 3 fish. And I don't know if you can make this out. There we go. See the orange basketball bellies on some of them? I threw some brine shrimp in there a little bit ago just to see if anyone would eat it, and we got a bunch of interested customers. So once you get to brine shrimp, man, it's so much easier to raise these guys. I'm pretty happy with the results. I mean, I was not expecting this many fish. So, and you know, I haven't even told Steve yet. He's on vacation right now. So he gave me the trio to breed these, and he's got 45-ish in his 220 gallon, I guess 42 now since he gave me 3. My secret plan, which is not going to be so secret anymore because I'm sure he'll see this, I'm going to breed a couple hundred of these guys and give them back to him. I want him to have an army of these Blair eye rainbows. So he's given me so much, and I have really nothing cool to give him back. So I think this is the first thing I can do to really kind of help him out, because I know that he wants an army of these guys. He just doesn't have his breeding setup ready yet. So I'm going to I just made another mop. I threw another mop in there. I'm going to do like 3 spawns of these guys, and I'm going to give him all of them. And I think he'll be really happy about that. Next on the list are some beautiful black Moscow guppies. I've got my light on top just to kind of show you better lighting. This is easily my most stocked tank right now. I've got a bazillion, gazillion, trillion, billion of them. I really like these guys. I think they're beautiful. I never even noticed they've got like a little bit of a white tip on their tail too. That's cool. My lighting's never been good enough to really pick out these details. So that's kind of neat. Yeah, look at that. This is good for the website too. I could probably just take videos and capture a still from the video. Tank next to that, we've got some parva rainbowfish fry that I've raised from a mop. So I didn't breed these. I just raised them. These are the like sunset rainbows, some people call them. They're really, really like bright orange. They're really beautiful. I'd love to put a picture up to show you guys what they're going to look like, but I don't know. I know rainbowfish people are real crazy about, you know, if you steal their picture, it's like World War III, and I don't want to, you know, piss anyone off. So I'm not going to do that. Google it, parva rainbowfish, and take a look-see. I think you're really going to like these. They're definitely going to be in the line of rainbowfish I'll be breeding from the website. The blue galaxy guppies are looking really, really good. I'm getting more and more of these, so I'm going to have a bunch of these pretty soon on the website. And something really interesting about these, so I know we talked about how the blue dragon Indo guppies are eating all their fry. There's quite a few, you know, medium-sized fish in here now, and they're not eating their fry. So little babies that are just chilling down there, they've been in here for a few days now, and I haven't seen anyone get gobbled up yet. That might help that I'm feeding them a ton. And see, some of these juveniles are starting to get some of the patterns on the side. Oh, look at that. Yeah, these are just stunners, man. I just love these things. God, a whole tank of these would just look like the night sky, you know, like a starry night sky. So, really excited to get these on the website for you guys. I'm sure some people are going to be interested in these. I know. Heck, if I saw these on a website, I'd just click buy now. I wouldn't even look at the price. So the 24 karat gold guppies just came out of the birthing suite. I had both females in the basket. And this is all the fry we got, which is a great amount. I mean, I'm happy with that. But I have noticed this line of guppies likes to eat their fry more ferociously than a lot of other lines. I don't know why that is. That's just my opinion. That's what I kind of witnessed. So keeping these guys in here till they get big enough to swim with mom and pop and not feel like they're going to be dinner. Next to that tank are the red chili dumbo guppies. Look at this guy in proper light. He's got like yellow, blue, red. I mean, the yellow I didn't really notice when I got him, to be honest with you. But now that I'm putting good light on him, he looks really good. And look at even like the females' tails are really pretty. That's gonna be a male, but or maybe not. I don't know. So I got a good number of these guys too. They're really happy. See, this dude never stops bothering the ladies. But yeah, these are really pretty too. I almost kind of regretted buying them because I thought they were too similar to my red mosaic dumbo ear guppies, but they're way different. They have like a yellow head, not a blue head, and their tail is a different pattern, different, you know, it's a different shape too. So sorry if I don't know all the proper terms. I should learn all the proper tail size terms and all that, but a very nice looking fish. I think a big school of these would look really nice. So I moved my golden rams over to this 10 gallon. I'm hoping I could keep the water more pristine in this setup. Feed them more, grow them out a little quicker. Some of the dominant males are really starting to color up. Like, look at how colorful this guy's getting. This guy too, back there. Don't know if you can see that. This is the blue spangling in the tail and the dark orange head. Beautiful. This is my first ever spawn of rams. Not the biggest spawn ever. You know, like I said, I lost a few of them to jumping out. I also learned the hard way that baby rams are very susceptible to baby brine shrimp eggs. If you don't separate the eggs well enough and they get a shell, that can kill them. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened to some of mine. So that was kind of a hard lesson, but something that I learned. I'm assuming that's what killed them. I don't, because the rest of them are all really healthy. And now these guys are eating anything I put in the tank. I still give them baby brine every day, but they'll eat any kind of pellet or flake food you give them. And they're just very healthy, very lively, and I can't wait to see them grow up a little bit more. I feel like now that I'm raising these up in my water, they should be a lot more resilient. All 3 parents are dead, and I feel horrible about that because they were a gift. And I hope it wasn't something I did. I think they probably were imported, and they were beautiful fish. I just, hopefully these do a little better for me. I've got them really warm. I got them at 85 right now, and they seem to love that. These will be on the website eventually. I don't know how much bigger I want to get them. I mean, they're still pretty small. But yeah, aren't they beautiful? It's already got some beautiful color on that guy. Alright, so on the bottom rack we've got some 20 gallons. This is the only one that's actually got any fish in it right now. This is a community German blue ram tank. I think I got about 6 German blue rams in here. I've kind of spread out different sites for them to potentially spawn. I just cleaned the glass, and of course they're being shy now. And I do have some eggs in a little dip and pour. And I think it was one of these, the ram that laid these, I think it was their first spawn that I've witnessed, but I still see some good eggs on there. I've been getting some really good advice from a friend I met on YouTube who's commented on my videos before. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been struggling with German blue ram eggs. Angelfish are so much easier, in my opinion. The ram cichlids are they're definitely trickier. You can see them back there, they're hanging out. Usually they'll come right up when I feed them. Just must have spooked them when I was doing the glass cleaning. And I'm gonna get more wood, probably like more vertical pieces in the middle of the tank, maybe in the back, just so that give them more places to hide. And then I'm just focusing right now on keeping the water really, really clean in here. These were the first rainbow fish I've ever hatched from a spawning mop that Steve gave me. Actually, 4 mops. It is a hodgepodge of, I believe, 3 different kinds of rainbows. The orange one's obviously the Bosemani. That's the same parents that I have upstairs right now. I think I can't remember now. I think Steve pulled them out from a summer tub that he had going. But you can see it's starting to get some color. Look at, oh man, did you see that? That one's starting to get some color. See the blue stripe? Let's see if I can, yeah. I mean, these guys are growing faster than I thought they would. Don't know how well that's going to come out on camera, but I can definitely start seeing some color on these. So that's exciting. And they are just amazing eaters. Now, you know what? I'll post in the video what kind of rainbows these are, because there's 3 different kinds. Steve said one or 2 of them are pretty rare, actually. So I feel very privileged to be able to have some rare rainbows, you know, especially since I'm brand new to them. And these are all very high quality fish too. But it's been a real joy raising these up. It's been a lot of fun just watching them get a little bit bigger every day, reading about them, learning about their environment. If it's taught me anything, is that this hobby is as deep as you want it to be, and I'm looking at it now as like a conservation kind of activity where I can learn more about these fish, and these fish that are endangered or sometimes even extinct. I'm starting to really want to open up some tanks to keep those fish, you know, like the CARES program. I think that's kind of where I want to take this hobby. Is I want to get some fish that are endangered and keep them breeding and alive, and hopefully to other people that want them. And I think that would give me a sense of fulfillment that I'm actually doing something worthwhile. You know, like, I do this hobby because I enjoy it and I think it's fascinating, but how cool would it be to keep a species or 2 going with the help of an aquarium community, where I could be like, okay, I've got this rare rainbow species and not a lot of people have it. Let's pump it out and let's get it out there so that maybe it's, you know, habitat in the wild is getting demolished, but at least we can keep this fish alive, because maybe someday the genetics will be valuable to scientists, or maybe someday they'll use my fish to keep the, you know, that species alive, because, you know, if no one keeps these fish and the habitats get destroyed, we'll lose that fish forever. And that thought is really, like, kind of scares me. I mean, just thinking of all the goodyids that are getting their habitats destroyed, and apparently rainbows too. I had no idea. I've been learning a lot about that, and I'm gonna have to really open up some space. But I'd like to keep some rare fish just for the sake of having them in case they start to go extinct, and I could get them out to people. Yeah, these fish are beautiful. They get lots of brine shrimp. They're starting to get some nano pellets. I don't really get them. I don't give them any color enhancing formula food. I want to see their natural colors, and I'm excited to say we're starting to see those right now. So keep checking back in with me, because these fish seem to change a lot week to week. Directly next to that tank is my guppy birthing suite. I've showed you guys this before. Actually, my most popular videos on this method, and it's not my method. I got it from Dean from Aquarium Co-op, and he probably got it from Guppy Breeders, because I've seen it other places too. Just a pond basket. Happens to fit perfectly in a 10-gallon tank. And if you got something bigger, like a 20-gallon tank, you can take something, and I forget what the stuff's called, but they use it. I think it goes in the cracks of concrete when they're like putting down driveways. Forget what it's called. I can link it in the description. You can glue that to the bottom, and this will actually float in a 20-gallon. So that's kind of nice too. But yeah, you want to talk about really upping your production of guppies? Do this setup right here. And it doesn't have to be this fancy little filter. It can be a sponge filter. It can be a canister. Honestly, you probably don't even need a filter in this tank if you're only going to do it for... If you know your guppy's about to pop and you want to just drop her in here for a couple days, you probably don't even need a filter. But that's up to you. Anyway, big success with this. So, empty 20-gallon. I think I'm going to put the Bosemani in there. Another empty 20-gallon that's evaporated so much. And it's just got these tacky fake plants in there. I think I'm going to put some of my angelfish in there and start beefing them out. That way I can really focus on feeding them and changing lots of water and really get them into breeding condition so I can start creating more strains. And next to it is my 20-ish gallon Blue Dream shrimp tote. So I've been watching this guy called Mark Shelley Aquatics. He's got a great channel. He is a wizard when it comes to breeding shrimp. And I only have kept neocardinia. And I actually got this idea from Mark's shrimp tanks. He's got a really great channel too. And I was having minimal success with it because, to be honest, I wasn't putting a whole lot of effort into it, and I just haven't had luck in the past with breeding too many shrimp. And I think the number one reason is I don't feed them enough. Sounds really simple, but I've been putting food in here pretty much every day. I just crumble a little bit of flake food or just generic food, and I'm seeing a ton of babies now. I think I only had like 6 adults that I put in here. Let's try to squeeze. And every time I poke my head in now, I see tons of babies. This setup makes it hard to really look at your shrimp, which is, I think I'd rather have them in a tank, but this is a good economic option. Yeah, see, I see a bunch of them on the side over there. And I see this guy here. He's just doing some shrimp stuff down there. Just living his best shrimp life. I'm interested to break this down or drain it and pull the plants out and kind of see how many shrimp I have. Yeah, go check out Mark Shelley Aquatics. He's Mark Shelley's channel. I don't know if it's Mark Shelley Aquatics. I can't remember now. He's really knowledgeable, and he makes a lot of shrimp. And he's funny too. I like him. And I forgot to say, Justin's fish room is Nick from Keeping Fish Simple. It's, I think, one of his buddies that helps him, and he's in a lot of his videos. Justin's fish room has his own channel, and he's got a lot of really good information on breeding ram cichlids. He is really, really good at it. So I'm learning a lot from him, and I'm hoping to really start pumping these guys out. I really love this fish. Maybe I didn't understand it as well as I thought I did. My 5 adult white cloud mountain minnows are in this little tote, and it's not where I want it to be. It's kind of ugly. The plants are dying. There's no light. I want to put some nice gravel down at the bottom, maybe some plants, really just make it a little nicer for them. And maybe I'll start seeing fry if I give the parents a place to lay eggs where they can't eat them, like large gravel. They're in there though. I don't get to enjoy them as much in here. That's another bummer. So I'll be pulling them out to breed them and make more babies. And speaking of babies, this is my first time breeding white cloud mountain minnows. It was actually super easy. I'm probably gonna make a video on that. They look like little neon tetras right now, like long neon tetras. They lose the blue eventually. But yeah, these have been really fun to breed. And they're tiny, and they look bigger on the video than they actually are. Just got them in a little 5-gallon tank with some subwasser tank, some moss, some floating plants, and I give them live baby brine twice a day, but they'll eat anything. They're not picky. Very curious personality. I think these fish would look great in a tank. I might sell them on my website eventually. They're not really worth, I don't know, honestly, like, they're not really worth the time to breed because they're not really expensive fish. But if there's interest in buying these, I would, I could start pumping them out. They're beautiful fish. And the nice thing about them is you don't need a heater. So you can keep them in a pond, keep them in an aquarium. One of my aquariums upstairs is 68 degrees. And they're in there and they're happy. They love it. So yeah, that's my first spawn. Hopefully getting a little more soon. Here's a Blair rainbowfish that Steve gave me. There's a female hanging out in the back, nice and plump. Been giving them a lot of live baby brine and frozen brine shrimp. Tried to make a mop. It's kind of an abomination. I didn't know how many times to wrap it around my book that I was wrapping, and I think I did it like triple the amount you should do. So it's just like taking up the whole tank. I don't know if it's gonna work. We'll leave it in there for a few days, see what happens. And these are the Snapper Creek rads I got from Marcel. They are a pseudo rainbow fish. They're not really rainbow fish, but they're closely related from what I understand. The only other person I've seen with these is Marcel, and they've got a really beautiful blue on the top of their body with a red tail and red features, and Marcel brought that out through selective breeding. So they're being shy right now, but they're beautiful fish. I think they deserve a display tank. I think it would be nice to see them in their proper lighting. But they're growing nicely. They get brine shrimp at least twice a day. I hatch so much brine shrimp that every tank in here gets brine shrimp every day. I feel very lucky to be able to say that, because I know it's not doable for everyone. And since I'm gone every third day, I guess I don't hatch brine shrimp every day. It's probably 2 out of every 3 days I hatch it, and I hatch a lot of it. See, I got some cooking right now. So I just switched to brine shrimp direct because it's a lot cheaper than the aquarium co-op. As good as this stuff is, it's actually pretty expensive, and I go through a can like every 3-4 weeks. So the aquarium co-op brine shrimp comes with this scoop. I do 2 scoops every day, which seems like a crap ton, but every fish in here loves it. So if the fish are happy, I'm happy, and it's really all about them. And I actually refrigerate it in my little fridge over there. I feel like it can keep for at least 48 hours with doing absolutely nothing to the water. If you want to actually put fresh water in there, fresh salt in, you could probably get it to last longer. Actually, I know there's ways to keep brine shrimp alive. These guys were being shy earlier. Those are the 24 karat gold or full karat or full gold. Love these guppies. Maybe they'll calm down when there's more guppies in the tank, but they're kind of like really skittish right now. Yeah, look at that guy. That'd make for a good picture. Oop. See what I mean? He's all freaked out. Sorry, dude. I don't know if the baby's going to be like that. The babies might not be skittish. Maybe it's just these guys. The 40 rack is looking pretty good. I mean, this water's a little cloudy because I just scrubbed the algae, so the water's really clean. I did like a 90% water change. I probably sent about 70 or 80 of these fish out today. I had 13 orders. One of the biggest orders we've had, which is really a blessing. So thank you guys for supporting me. And it's always a lot of eBay orders and not so many Wix orders. But this week, I think I had 6 website orders. So that was really cool. Thank you guys for that. That money all goes right back to the fish room so that I can make more videos and get more fish and just keep working on stuff. So yeah, these fish are looking beautiful. I gotta feed them again. They're probably starving. They're a little washed out right now because that light's kind of bright. Whoa. There's plenty of room in here for them. They just like to group together like that. Look how good these juvies look. Yeah, these guys are beautiful. So definitely, if you guys are interested in these, I got them on my website, and we can always kind of come up with a deal too. If you wanna buy a lot of them, I'll cut you a deal. Just email me. So those little guys I put in a 60 gallon are not so little anymore. They're getting bigger. Some of the ones in here are growing really, really fast. So yeah, we've got plenty of angels. This tank has a crock in it because I was walking down the stairs and I accidentally kicked my crock into the tank. My dad gave me this tank. This tank's probably 30 years old. It was in the wall of my room when I was growing up. My dad, he's a pretty handy guy. He's an electrician. He's retired now. And he had this tank recessed into the wall so that my bedroom was on this side and the living room was on this side, and there was a cabinet so you could close it for privacy. But pretty much from the living room side, all you saw was glass. It was drywall right here, drywall right here. And he used to breed discus. He had about 7 tanks running of, just breeding discus. He was really passionate about it. And there was always discus in here. And it was just a beautiful setup. So he's had this in his bedroom forever. And now that he's retired, he doesn't really want a fish tank. He wants to have his days open so he can do whatever he wants to do. And I get it. I mean, he doesn't want to be tied down with a fish tank, like when he's traveling and stuff. So he gave it to me. And it's an older tank, but it's got a lot of sentimental value. So I want to do something special with this. I think the first thing I'm going to do is paint the back black. I'm just a big fan of the black background. Like, look how nice that looks. Really makes everything pop. And I'm thinking of doing soil or aqua soil or a mix of EcoComplete aqua soil with gravel. He gave me the original gravel. That's been in there for, who knows, maybe 30 years. It's like a really fine river, like smooth river rock. Really natural color. I'm not really a gravel guy, but this is fine enough where I think the plant roots could get through it. Like if you were going to plant a bunch of crypts, I think they'd be totally fine with this. The bigger stuff, like that stuff over there, it's a little harder, I think, for plants. But if I just did a thin layer of this on top of some soil, like aqua soil, I think that would look really nice. I might do a planted rainbowfish tank. It's a 75 gallon. He says it's 70 gallon. I guess I gotta take the measurements. He doesn't really remember. He's getting old. I tease him all the time. He's actually pretty sharp. But and the last thing last thing over here I want to talk about is the guppy pond. So I haven't really talked about this, and I was pretty mad at myself, but I've been really good at quarantining stuff, and I got lazy one day and I bought 4 guppies from a pet store that were white, because I was like, hey, it'd be cool to get some white in the guppy pond. So I bought some white guppies. I put them in here, and they wiped out. They must have had a internal parasite or something. They wiped out 80% of my guppies in here, which just sucks. I was so mad at myself for doing that, because I wasn't listening to my own advice, you know, like, and I don't know everything, but I do know that quarantining is always a good idea. And I was too lazy. I didn't take the time to quarantine. So instead of quarantining them, I just dumped them in and took a risk, and this is what happens when you don't quarantine. Now, it's been over a month since any guppies have died in here, but for like 2.5 weeks straight, every time I came down here, I was pulling guppy after guppy out of here. Big, beautiful guppies I've had forever. And it just sucked. It really sucked. I had someone on here that was trying to order guppies, and they'd paid for them, and I had to refund him his money because I couldn't, in good faith, I couldn't send these fish out. They were sick. And thankfully, this is the only tank that parasite touched. So I medicated them twice. I did big water changes, and everyone seems happy now. I don't think they're sick anymore. They all got great appetites, and I'm looking forward to getting my population back up so I can start shipping again. Because these are, I mean, they're like $2 a piece. They're great for like if you're starting a kid's tank, or if you just don't care what kind of guppies you get. And there's some guppies in here that came from line breeds that just weren't good enough, but they're still good guppies. And I also have some red tuxedo platies in here, which I adore. And I don't know if you can see this, they got babies. That's a little red tuxedo platy baby. There's a bunch of them in here actually. So that was kind of cool to see that. I'll probably be selling those. They're really cool. They're like little koi fish in here. But yeah, super mad at myself for doing that. Please don't make my mistake. Please, please, please quarantine your fish. Medicate them. Take your time. Observe them. Because this tank about 2 months ago had 5 times this amount of fish in it, and they were beautiful, and I killed 80% of them, and I know better. I was just being impatient. So please quarantine your fish when you're buying them, especially from a pet store. I mean, I think I'm just done buying guppies from a pet store. I'd much rather get them from a breeder. I'll pay $30 for 3 fish because I know I can turn that into $300 if I wanted. The tank's doing well again. We are getting some fish in here. They're coming back, and I put a shop light over it. Bright shop light. So everything's growing really nice. And a neighbor was getting rid of a lily. It really stinks. Came out of her pond. So I gotta plant that. I'm gonna put that in a basket and put it on the bottom. Yeah, I know I told you guys in a video I was gonna really make this nice, and then that happened. And honestly, I hated walking over to this part of the basement because I knew I was gonna see dead fish. And I mean, death doesn't bother me. I know it's just part of the hobby and it's part of life, but well, it doesn't bother me that much. I guess it probably affects everyone, but coming over here and seeing the fish die every day, it was just like, man, I don't want to scoop them out. Like, I just felt guilty, you know. So that's the last time I skipped the quarantine process. That was a valuable lesson. The hexagon tank still hasn't been worked on yet, but I am still planning on making this my Skittles tank with just thousands of Skittles shrimp. I think that'd be so cool. Possibly endlers. Someone made a comment that it would be cool to see endlers in there. I totally agree. Like, I'm a total endler guppy nerd, but then that means less shrimp because they're going to be eating the shrimp. Like, there's no way around it. And if the goal is to just get thousands of shrimp, I think I'm just going to stick with just shrimp. Something else I want to talk about. So I've been trying to just enjoy my tanks more and really make them nicer, because some of this just feels thrown together. And it is, honestly. My tanks are horribly unlevel. Look how unlevel these are. Because I didn't level my rack because I was too excited. And you gotta remember, I'm trying to do everything when a 1.5-year-old is sleeping, so I've got 1.5-hour windows twice a day. So I'm flying around rushing. And if I want to get anything done, it's pretty much just stay up late or get up early. And I do both. But something that I realized I should have done before I set up the tanks, I should have painted them all black in the back. Look how nice that looks. The green and the plants pop. The guppies are more defined. They feel more secure. I should paint every tank black. And that's kind of what I've been doing now. Because now look at the next tank. You know, it's just doesn't look as nice. The fish don't really have anywhere to back up to. You don't really get to see the green plants. Still look nice, but look how much nicer the green looks next to the black. It's just more pronounced. It looks nicer. So these 3 tanks here, I brought them to work and I painted the sides and the back. So I didn't paint every side because I painted this side and then I painted this side of this tank. So there's no reason to paint this side of this tank because this is going to block these guys. And then I painted this side of this tank, and you get it. I didn't paint this side because there's no reason. So you really only end up in the middle tanks. You only have to paint the back, the side, and honestly, I paint the bottom too. It just looks nicer. Like, so these fish are kind of like living above a mirror. I feel like that's got to be kind of weird for them. Painting it black, it just makes cleaning them easier, and I just enjoy them more. So when we talk about enjoying our tanks more, it's the little things, I think, that add up. Like, I didn't have lids on any of these, and I'm starting to make lids too. And I just think it's beneficial in a lot of ways. But one thing that I thought about is I really shouldn't have guppy tanks right next to each other like this, because if one guppy from this tank jumps into this tank, it could ruin this whole line. And then I can't in good faith sell these to you knowing that the line might be messed up. So that prevents jumping. It prevents evaporation. Something else really interesting. This is not a warm basement. I mean, I've got vents down here. It's probably warmer than most basements, but it's not really that heated. And I decided to take the heaters out of all my guppy tanks to save on electricity, and honestly, I just didn't think it was needed. So the water temp up here is like a 72 degrees, which is a little on the colder side. When I put these lids on, I got 2 to 3 degrees increased temperature because I've got a surprise. See that bad boy up there? If you touch this hose, it's actually really warm. The woman at Gemco, when I bought this, warned me that it could increase the temperature of my tanks. So that's my linear piston pump that I just put in. And these are all the valves to my tanks that I just put in. All this stuff was bought from Gemco. This is 1-inch PVC pipe. And I'm going to be making a video on this, so I don't want to show you too much. It's a ring that goes all the way around this area. So, because and then a bleeder valve down there. I don't know if you can see that. That looks like a microphone. It's all the way around. But yeah, this has pretty warm air in it. The warm air is going into these tanks. I get about 2 degrees warmer tanks now in here. Yeah, look at 74.5. Now, if the tank like this one is next to a heated tank, it gives me another degree of heat. Check this out. This is probably gonna be like 75. Oh, 77? 77 degrees. And there's no heater in this tank, and it's in the basement. I got 2 sponges going, maybe that's why. double the, that's probably what it is. And it's next to this tank. So here's another guppy tank. No heater in it, but it's got a lid. 75. So I gained pretty much 3 degrees in each tank, which is awesome. So that's a huge bonus. Evaporation, there's no evaporation anymore. By the way, I'm waiting for the handles to come. I ordered them on eBay. I'm going to stick handles on it. If you're interested in how I built these, there's some excellent videos on it already. Oh, you know what? I first saw it on Fishboy's channel. Fishboy has a sweet channel. I really like watching his stuff. All this stuff can be bought at Home Depot. This is just outside corner molding that you cut to length of your tank. And then this is glass panes you can get at Home Depot and you cut them yourself. And it sounds kind of scary if you've never cut glass before, but it's actually not that bad. And then, anyway, yeah, so Fishboy has a video, Simply Betta has a video, Steve Poland Aquatics has a video. They're all kind of the same. Simply Betta painted hers black and actually looks really nice. These have little grooves in them on the bottom. You see that? So that's that bottom groove underneath here is where that first glass pane sits. So that's sitting in that groove right now. That doesn't really move around a whole lot. This top one sits on top of this plastic. It slides really easily. It's nice because they don't really make lids for tanks when they're sitting on their side like this. So I can come up here, slide all these open, feed, slide them closed. I'm running heaters less because it's holding the heat in. And there's minimal space in the back. So yeah, I'm going to be making these for every one of my tanks because there's so many benefits and it doesn't cost much. I mean, this outside corner molding is like $2 for like a 8-foot piece. These glass pieces I think are like $4 a piece. You can get smaller ones, but the cut is not as clean, so I got the 11 by 14 inch. So I mean, what, 4, 8, 9, not even $1. Let's just say $9. $9 per tank for a lid. That's not bad. Could be a lot more expensive than that. So this is the handle I went with. Got it on eBay. It's got 3M adhesive on the back of it. So nice. Should have done this a long time ago. So yeah, if anyone's stacking their tanks on the end like this, I'd highly recommend doing this kind of lid with a handle. I want you guys to see this. This is pretty magical. I love feeding this tank brine shrimp. They go nuts. And it looks like a lot, but it disappears quick. Now, like I said, every tank down here gets brine shrimp, and I just feel like the fish love it. Every fish loves it. Bigger fish, not so much. They'll eat it. I don't know if it's really worth their energy. Smaller fish, it's like the secret sauce for getting them to grow fast. So if you're breeding fish out there and you're not doing brine shrimp, strongly consider doing it. At least for me, my experience was it changed everything. I mean, it's a game changer. And once Fry started eating brine shrimp, it's easy street. Yeah, these guys just, I'll sit here and feed them. I feed them twice a day. And I'll sit here and watch because they just love it.